Greetings, welcome to HymnLineage, a space where we trace the stories of the hymns we now love to sing. Today's hymn is hymn 47 in the Christ in Song hymnals on Jordan's stormy banks I stand, authored in 1787 by Samuel Stennett. This is a hymn that gives us reasons to why we should anticipate heaven. Dear friends, heaven begins from down here. No one will go to heaven if they did not deflect a degree of heaven while they lived on earth. Your preparation for the court above begins with your preparations for the court down below. And so, dear friends, it reminds pilgrims that the desires for heaven should not only end as a desire, but it should also be reflected as an intentional lifestyle. Now, who was Samuel Stennett? Now, the record says that Samuel Stennett, born 1727, died August 24th, 1795, was a particular Baptist preacher and hymn writer. In 1758, he was appointed pastor of the church meeting at Littleward Street, London, a position he held for 37 years. He was the son of Joseph Stennett, who was the previous pastor of Littleward Street, and the grandson of Joseph Stennett, who also was a pastor of a particular Baptist church meeting at Piners Hall in London. And so we find that Samuel Stennett came from a family that was rich in faith, rich in, religious practices. But one thing that I should make mention is that, dear friends, despite him being from a family that was rich, in faith, in religion, this man too had challenges. He was not immune to challenges because of being a minister. I want you to notice from the introductory part that he did not choose ministry because ministry chose him instead. Dear friends, you did not apply to be born in life, but life, wanted you to be born. And when we say life, we mean God wanted you to exist. God wanted you to be where you are today. There are things that we do not apply for, but they are extended to us because of God's mercy. And so his call to be a pastor was an extension that was given him because God had chosen him for the ministry. And so Stennett was born in a non-conformist family. Now, what I want you to understand is that in those days, the only mainstream church was the Church of England. And many of them, they were Anglicans. And so for Baptists, there were a lot of things that they faced because they didn't belong to the Church of England. While specific childhood stories about Samuel Stennett are not widely documented, his life was shaped by religious discrimination, limited educational access, family expectations, and the pressures of ministry life. These challenges helped shape him into the compassionate, humble, and deeply spiritual leader he later became. And so what I want you to understand is that you see, the challenges that you do face today are the same challenges that will actually make you to be strong tomorrow. Today's challenges, they qualify you for tomorrow's achievement. Do not forget that as you face discrimination, you may have a limited educational access because of your background in life, but let that be a motivation that will usher you to desire more and will usher you to give other people opportunities. What I've discovered in life is that, people who do not give opportunities, they are likely to be the ones who were not given opportunities when they were still struggling. Alright, so the record says that in 1758 he was faced with a challenge, and that was the demise of his wife. And this is the same, setback that seemed to deaden him to the world. He appeared to have no further desire to live in the world, and just before he was confined to his bed, he prayed earnestly in his family that God might give him an easy passage out of life. And he said with great emotion, "When I reflect upon the sufferings of Christ, I am ready to say, what have I been thinking of all my life? What he did and suffered are now my only support." You see, dear friends, when confidence in godly things, has departed from your life, what will bring that confidence back? It is a reflection of the sufferings that Christ endured on your behalf. Now, according to Stance 1, one reason that we should anticipate heaven is, that is where our possessions lie. Another reason we should anticipate heaven is that is where God is. He says, "Over all those wide extended plains shines one eternal day. There God the Son forever reigns and scatters night away." And so in the second stanza, we are told that heaven is pictured as a country with wide extended plains, and that corresponds with Hebrews chapter 11 verse 13 to 16. And we are also told in the second stanza that in this country shines one eternal day, because there is no night there. And that corresponds to Liberation chapter 21 verse 23. And thirdly, we are told it is God, the eternal Son, who forever reigns upon his throne. That is according to Liberation chapter 4 verse 2 to 3. And so, dear friends, we find that when God will scatter night away, he will also scatter the tears away from God's children. One thing that you should understand is that you may lose a great deal for Christ today, but you will not lose anything by Christ. And on David says, "Weeping endures for the night, but joy comes in the morning." And so our day is soon to break. Today we are facing night, but the hymn reminds us that God is going to scatter the night away, and there he, together with the saints, God, will reign eternally. One other reason we should anticipate heaven is because our hope is not in this life, but on the other side of Jordan's wave. We can have hope of eternal life. Well, friends, the chorus further describes the glory of that eternal land, where we shall sing the song of Moses and the Lamb. We will rest in that fair and happy land, just across on the evergreen shore.